And welcome back. We are going to today discuss the importance of using things like reference images. Now, in our last lesson, I had briefly compared the pixel art of our pineapple to a real pineapple, just so we can kind of get some comparison. Now, one thing I want to say is if you're not familiar working with pixel art, it is okay to look at other examples and to kind of reference in order to just get practice doing more. So for example here, we are looking at some grapes. And if you say, I want to practice making grapes, here is an example of one that you could practice doing. Now, obviously, this image is at a larger scale than anything that we've worked at. And so that might be a good thing for you to learn how to also practice your ability to scale images. Or conversely, there's this traffic light here, a little bit simpler, maybe not as large, but it's still something that you could use. You can see we've got different tonalities. If we zoom in just a little bit here, you can see that we have some light reds, we have some darker reds. So we have different options in here of things that we could or play around with. If we look at this light bulb, same idea. Something relatively simple. You can see we have a circle here. Kind of more of a rectangular shape down here. We talked about using shapes in our artwork to kind of help us out. This is, of course, you can see there's almost like an H shape here for the filament with a little wave. So it's very easy to use reference images to make ourselves better. And there's nothing wrong with using reference images to practice making your own pixel art better. Let's look at this with an example. So here I have this potion, and let's say I want to use it as a reference image. So I'm just going to go File, New. And for our example, let's just go ahead and first look at this from an 8x8 perspective. So let's do 8x8. Go ahead and zoom that in. Go to our brush tool. Okay. And you can see it's very small image again. And if we look at our potion, we have kind of a purple base here. So I'm going to go ahead and use a purple tone. I'm going to choose something a little bright here. And let's go ahead and just kind of paint that in here. And we know that this shape is that it rises upward. So we're going to kind of rise that upward. And if we look, then we have the beaker here is clear at the top. So I'm going to make that kind of more of a blue tone in order to kind of represent something that's a little more transparent. But I don't want it to be white because, again, my background's white. But we're just going to use this kind of a blue tone here. Maybe make it a little narrower to kind of show the neck a little bit. And let's go ahead and just put that across to show the top. Again, this is an 8x8 image, so it can be a little bit more difficult to show certain aspects of it. And if you remember, there's also these kind of vapors coming off the top, and they're purple. So what we're going to do is use our color picker tool. Let's grab this. And go ahead and make that just kind of a lighter purple here. And what we're going to do is go back to our brush tool and just kind of put a couple of these vapors coming off. Now, of course, I can't really do too much with it because this is only 8x8 image. Now, I could, of course, go ahead and add some outlines to this. So, for example, I could go to my black tool and add some outlines to it to kind of really help hone this in to show what it is. And you can see it's right here in the background, looking a little bit like the shape that we had before. All right. Just to kind of give that some detail. However, one thing we notice is it's very hard, again, at 8x8. So let's just look at this now at a 16x16 and apply the same properties and ideas. So at a 16x16 image, we're going to go ahead, let's go ahead and pick a purple. Doesn't have to be the exact same purple, but we're going to pick a purple. And I'm going to go ahead and paint in here. Hold down the Shift key to make my life a little bit easier so I can go quicker. Not that much. A little too much again. There we go. And let's go ahead and do the top of that flask. So I'm going to switch to kind of a light blue again. And you can see now that I have 16x16, I'm having a little bit more control over how I want that image to ultimately look. All right. We can, of course, then add in those vapors that we had done before. So let's grab the eyedropper, and change to a light nice purple here. So let's kind of do light purple. And let's use our brush tool to add in some of those vapors coming off. And of course we can do some gradients here as well in order just to show a little color variation. Maybe make it a little bit more pink. And why don't we go ahead and add in that black and white outline again. All right, and there's that potion at 16 by 16. If we compare that to our reference image, we can see we also have some other points in here, and we got some ability to do some nice gradients. So what I might do is grab my eyedropper tool, again, to go ahead and just add some variation in here. And then also looked like there were some areas that were kind of white, so I'm going to put some white in here, but that's a little too white for maybe my taste. So if I go ahead and change that to back to the pink, let's just go ahead and bring that in with just a very faint amount there. Let's actually move that to here so you can kind of get a sparkle effect. And there we go. And there's our potion based upon this reference image. Notice they are not exactly the same, but they are similar. If I look at my thumbnail, you can see this right here. Looks not too far off from this, and it's scaled differently because remember, this is an original image that I made. However, I was able to use a reference image in order to create my own. Now it's your turn. Go ahead and give that a practice. See how you do using reference images to help create your own pixel art.